I got a forgive me text this morning from my ex-husband. Just let's say I want to apologize because I was not a good person to you. This is not a text to unearth or a ploy. And I text him back, all is forgiven. I am a better person now. My life has been amazing. I am truly, truly blessed. Back to another episode of Purpose and Powerful Podcast. Today, we are talking about single by force, the divorce dilemma. So I'm your host, myself, as well as Dr. Jurbil. We both navigated the waters of that, and we're here to be transparent and open and talk to you about what those experiences were like for us and how we got through. Whether that was by people, therapy, or whatever have you. We're just here to be open and let you know you are not navigated this particular course alone by yourself. You have been engrafted into a very special club that no one would want to willingly sign up for. But here we are. We are in our polished forms, but we weren't always this way.
Would you want to, I mean, you've been divorced, how many times, Erica?
So I've been divorced twice. First time, high school sweetheart. We were together for 4 years before marriage. And then we were married almost 6 years. And that one, I would chalk that one up to just kind of experience and just not knowing who I was, starting out our paths of adulthood. I actually got married 2 days before my 21st birthday, just to give you an idea just how young we were. I just had joined, when we got engaged, it was right after I finished boot camp. So, life is changing. They want to hold on to you a little bit. And honestly, I would just say, like husband number 2, for me, I just needed them to be real with themselves, to say, I love you, but I'm not ready. And I don't want to stand in your way. Let us just, resolve this situation, call relationship, and both be free to just go out there and do whatever God has purpose for us to do. And that would have been fine with me, actually. My parents just kind of let me decide as my adult self, but had they been more transparent about how they were feeling about when I said I wanted to get married, I think I could have avoided both of those marriages just fine. I mean, I would have been taken aback, but I think they both learned that I actually would have valued what they had to say, because not saying it was like, wasn't it?
Well, what is something that they should have said, or you wish they would
But
have
just to
said?
say, babe, I don't think you're ready yet, or I don't think this is a particular person. Like, they're a good person. I mean, they like my husbands, obviously.
Husbands, right.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be. So second time around, so I got divorced first time in 2003. I was remarried in 2006. And then we were divorced in 2011, a week before our 6th-year anniversary. So first time mutual, second time him.
First, so when you say him,
Like my husband decided. He decided. First time was mutual. First marriage, divorce situation, we were mutually in agreement that that was our best course of action. Second one's totally out of left field. Like, I don't want to be married anymore.
Fast forward, are either one of those men married?
My first husband, he is not remarried. He's had the same, I think, girlfriend, romantic partner for like a number of years. But he has, since our reunion, he has a son, so he does have a child. Okay. And that is not the child's mother that he's with, though. Second husband's remarried, one stepdaughter or bonus daughter, and 2 kids.
Second one, say that one more time. You said the second
husband's remarried, 2 children between the 2 of them that they had together, and she had a child from a previous relationship.
It's almost 3 children.
Yeah, so married with 3.
Married with 3. Now, I'm gonna go a little deeper with it, and you can flip this back because
Oh, we are, yes.
okay, all right.
So
So
before
I'm
you
ready.
go deep, give us your synopsis of your divorce situation.
Right, but before we go deep, I'm ready to jump into the pool for sure. I want to know, have either one of these, the one who's booed up with this girlfriend, and your husband, your ex, the other ex,
Ex-husband, yeah.
do they ever have any remorse and wish they could maybe get another chance?
Absolutely. I got a forgive me text this morning from my ex-husband.
Really? Are you
Yeah, he
serious?
was just like, I want to apologize because I was not a good person to you. You're a great person. This is not a text to unearth anything that's going on or a ploy or some tactic or whatever. And I text him back, all is forgiven. I am a better person now. My life has been amazing, full of blessings. It's come with its trials and triumphs, but I am truly, truly blessed.
Really? How did that make you feel?
Made me feel nothing because that's what real work can do, right? When you got into a place where you're empty of all the pain, you're empty of all the wrongdoings that both people committed or whatever like that, you're over it, like you're completely over it. Like God has come in and done a work on healing and recovery. I know that my life is better. I've been able to do amazing things, go amazing places, like South Africa recently. Things that I know would have been challenging discussions or have to have a come to Jesus meeting about an explanation. I don't want you to do this, that, or third, or the other. I don't have to have those conversations. I take and park those conversations with the Lord, and He decides what I can and cannot do, what I will and will not do, what I am destined, ordained, or prepared to do. That's my only checkbox. When I was married, my husband was my God. And so part of the reason why my spiritual strength is where it's at is because I had to realign. I no longer, just like the word says, if you're married, you care about the affairs of the spouse, right? That's going to be your priority. That's not my priority. And even when I'm remarried, that priority will stay in place.
So you look working on a number 3 in time.
I would be 3 and final. That last one's going to be what's up.
Well,
I
that's
don't
good.
know if I've met him yet.
Yeah, one of our listeners is asking a question. What have you? Let me see. I think it says. Do you see it in the chat?
Yes. So one of the ways that or strategies that I use, first thing, I mentioned this on a previous show. Number one thing is being a strong person, meaning you're the person that people call. They expect you to just be Iron Woman, Iron Man. You can just take these hits, be like Timex and keep on ticking because you are the response mechanism. Like you are the person that they call when life is falling apart. When your life is falling apart, you don't have that in reverse. You'll find that you don't have that in reverse. So when I discovered that people wanted me to get on and get over it, like those 11 years of my life that I spent with this man were not that important. I said, I need to replace them with someone that was brand new, completely a blank canvas, AKA therapy. Now, in our particular culture, people see therapy as something of weakness or you're not able to cope, handle, deal, whatever. That was not the way I saw it. I was like, I need to find someone who knows nothing about me, nothing about him, where I can unload all that I feel about it, all that I think about it, because I got to a place where I loved and longed for the morning. At night was hard. So coming home to that house with all those memories, we bought that home together. We have the pictures around us. I'm thinking of all these things that will never happen. And then the tears and the sleepless nights and all of these things. And I'm like, I gotta get some sleep. That's number one. And two, I just gotta get back to myself. I had to pray about what was it that made me who I was before I got married. Like I had to rediscover my identity because it was so enmeshed in that dual identity of relationship. I really left and cleft. Bible says leave and cleave. I definitely did that. So I said, okay, therapy is going to be my answer. It was a EAP, employee assistance program or whatever, at my corporate job at the time. So I signed up to go to these therapy sessions. And so the therapist explained to me that there are 4 sessions that the program covered. And then after the 4th, if I needed additional guidance or whatever, he would then refer me to another therapist or whatever in the network. And then I would just use my insurance benefits at that time. So, but in the first meeting, he said, we won't need more than 4 because he knew that I was ready to just move on with my life. So I unloaded all that I thought, all that I felt. And then, in our third to last session, he said, Erica, I want you to describe for me in one word, if you had to put it all together, how this entire experience has made you feel. I said, abandoned. And he said, yes. And I'm going to add one word to that. Emotionally abandoned, because he said, see, your husband, if he could keep you without the marriage, then he would be for that. But since being married is a very integral part of you remaining in the relationship, he has to throw the entire thing overboard. So I said, okay, yeah, you're right. Once he said that to me, emotionally abandoned, it wrapped all my feelings up in one strategy. I was like, oh, okay. So then once I got that understanding and so this is where my list came from. I mentioned this also. He said in our closing session, he said, after this session, what I want you to do is I want you to write a list of everything you don't like about people, everything you find distasteful, loathing, whatever. Write those attributes down about people. And then in your future, you avoid people, whether it be relationships or whatever have you, that exhibit those particular qualities or traits. So that's how my list began about finding the ideal mate. It was not so much about the ideal mate, but just friends in my life. I had to reevaluate friends, people, family, all of that, to get to a place of healing and get back to knowing myself. Because the things that made me very unique are the things that made me thrive today, such as I'm very independent. I am very ambitious, but not aggressively so. Meaning once I know I'm good at something, I move in that particular direction. And my husband and I, we actually bumped heads a lot, as most people do in relationships. And so you have to submit or yield in different ways. And some of those cuts, one in particular, was my profession. Now I've gone to school to become an accountant. And then I'm working this corporate firm, and he did not like the number of hours that I worked. But I wasn't working the hours because I was just trying to climb the corporate ladder. These were requirements for the position. Tax time, we do 80-hour, 70-hour weeks. It was a little bit much for him. So my business was actually his idea because he thought that would kind of like minimize the number of hours that I would be working, right? So
right.
That's where the business actually came from, but actually it was spurring off of leaving that firm and then doing different things. So I appreciate that the Lord used him to say that that's what he had for me. And even though it was meant for evil, God had good things planned for that particular move. But yeah, so definitely I recommend counseling, number one off the bat, because uncovering those feelings and wading through the emotions, you're going to need to get to that. You need to get that done first. And then you can rediscover what were dreams you left on the table, what were things that you said no to for the sake or the sacrifice of the relationship that you're in. And then you can start to develop the new you from there. You can lay down there, but you can stay there. One thing about me is 3 days. I give myself 3 days. I always say I can throw a pity party, but I don't send invitations. I might even blow up some balloons, but that's as far as you're gonna get. But the maximum 3 days, I'm moving on. I'm moving on in a day. Emotionally, I'm gonna give myself 3 days to deal with that. because I know who I am. I've had that time to work on myself and to get to a place of wholeness, even in singleness, to be able to do it.
Thanks. I mean, I hope that answered the question and addressed it. Shoot me with one question before we
Sure.
end this session. I said I would jump in the pool, so go ahead and
Oh,
ask me
come on,
something.
wait in it. Okay, so first question, and two questions, and then you can just answer them together if you like. First question is,
Sure.
how did you decide that divorce was your path? And what were the things that you did to recover to be part of the man that you are standing before us today?
How did I discover that divorce was my path?
Yes.
You mean for
Like what made the decision? So like, you're married. I said
right,
divorce
I
was
get it.
not my choice, right? Divorce by force.
Divorce, I wasn't able to be myself. When I look back, I was really, it was a connection. I married someone who was from Nigeria. My father's from Nigeria. I hadn't met him until I was 26. So even at that time, I hadn't met him. And I wanted to be closer connection with my father and have more acceptance. Well, I found myself marrying someone who could give me that pass to get to Nigeria and be loved and welcomed in with open arms. So I fell in love with that whole idea. And I didn't really have time to have a friendship. So it was almost like an arranged wedding in a way. And once we got in it within the first month, I knew that it wasn't right. But there were signs, even 6 months before, even with the marriage counseling, they said that we weren't ready. So when we went to meet, my mother and I went to meet their family, they refused to come to the meetings. But the beauty is that I do have a daughter who's 19 and she's in college and she's doing well. So I think that when I look back, I mean, I don't have any regrets. I had to go to counseling for the healing. And unfortunately, the counseling was a positive side, but the negative side is I ended up hurting other people and other people were hurting me because I was attracting based on the position or how I felt about myself. So it was kind of misery, love, and company, brokenness on top of brokenness. So I went through that spiral for at least almost 10 years. And a lot of men use the divorce card to get close, but not too close. So if a woman really wants to be there for him, he'll say, no, I'm still getting over this. And really he's playing a game all the way along. He just creates space. So here's a little telltale sign secret. So the divorced man, usually that's not your treasure. It's usually it's a situation and a reason why he's divorced. And it's not always the other person or only the other person. That's all I have to say about that.
Just one follow-up question. How long were you married?
With that first marriage, all right, the first marriage, we pushed it out to 5 years, but it was already over within the first year and a half. And her parents were pastors, marriage pastors. So it was more of an embarrassment. So we wanted to, she wanted to hold on, so I just held on. We weren't living in the same house after a year and a half, but we just kept it going for the 5 years. So it was really gone. It was really over within the first 2 years. And my daughter was just born. She was really young.
Well, thank you.
And
Again, we come to do
Mhm.
transparency from your podcast host. And while we know that we're here to help and help to heal, join us for our part 2, Single by Choice, Repositioning for Love. And we'll see you soon.